These are the 7 boring habits which got me 4 billion long-form views on YouTube. And it all starts with the audience. So almost every creator I've spoken to is mind blown when I show them that you can actually see who YouTube thinks your video is for and hence who they are pushing it to. So first you want to go on your phone and you want to switch to mobile data. You also want to go outside. You want to go away from your home network so there's no detectable IP address. You then want to open an incognito tab on a completely fresh browser. You then pull up your own video, scroll down to the suggested column, and you can see there who YouTube thinks your video is also for. I mean, quite literally, these are the videos YouTube would prefer your viewers to watch instead of yours. And if you want to take this a step further, just repeat it 5 different times and take the videos that appear most frequently under those videos. And so to show you this in action, take a look at these 2 videos, where one of them is heavily skewed towards the beginner end of the YouTube strategy space and the other is skewed towards the expert end. Both of these have the same underlying promise of getting more views and subscribers, but the difference is the first one is very beginner focused and the actual language in the video is far more accessible to a new audience but actually not interesting to someone who's already heard that advice before, whereas the second video does the opposite. And so the first one is the most repeated or the most frequent videos that come up in the suggesteds, and these ones with 5x appeared every single time we did this test. And so of course we have videos about getting your first 100,000 subscribers or your first 1,000 subscribers. Interestingly, a gaming YouTube strategy video, YouTube settings that kill small channels, a lot of faceless videos, including some like challenges and courses, Mr. Beast sharing YouTube advice, start to earn grow a Roblox channel. And so this is all very, very interesting data based on who actually was watching our video and enjoying it, and clearly it's very split and a relatively low quality audience as well. Now if we compare this exact view with Caleb Ralston's video, which is the more expert video, well all of a sudden it looks very different. I mean, we have Oren, we have Ed Lawrence. These tend to be a lot longer, I mean 47 minutes in length. Even the color scheme of a lot of these videos are a lot more dull and mature. I mean, they venerate MIT as that video appeared 4 times in the suggesteds. And so this is very valuable data to understand who our video is being sent to, who it's not being sent to, but it can only sharpen its prediction if the wrong viewers click and leave fast and the right viewers actually stay. And so you need to make that contrast very obvious. And the way you do this is by skewing your packaging heavily towards the right audience and make it borderline repulsive to the wrong one. The second habit is about expectations. And so your title and thumbnail, the entire goal of them is to generate a very specific list of expectations in the viewer's mind. And these are expectations for what they think your video will be about, what will be in the video, and how it will be delivered. But the problem is, if you're not hyper aware of what all of the expectations you're setting before you make your video are, then you're going to inevitably drift from them, or you'll miss 1 or 2 out, and your viewers won't actively feel deceived, but they will feel a friction, and this friction will make them maybe close the YouTube tab slightly early, but it doesn't matter. Because YouTube will know to blame your video for that drop and it will read it as dissatisfaction and quietly pull your video out of distribution. Now for this video here, the expectation list is that you expect a list of 7 hacks or tricks that you can implement into your channels quickly. The tricks will be boring, but they carry the perception of being effective and valuable. There are 7 of them and I'll be quick firing through them, and the emotion won't be excitement. It will be like, yeah, these are things people genuinely do to get more views, and if you're desperate to get more views on YouTube, then you can do them too. Now that list is what my title and thumbnail will promise, and everything I say in this video needs to deliver exactly to this list. This is my checklist for production. Now what we can actually do is take a YouTube thumbnail, if we screenshot it and we give it to ChatGPT, it has to be ChatGPT. I know like people love Claude recently and Gemini is pretty cool, but GPT's image recognition is just completely unmatched. But what we can do is ask it to list out the expectations the viewer will have about what's in our video based on this title and thumbnail: topical, emotional, and structural. These are the 3 buckets of expectations. Give a list of 10 and order by importance. The video will reveal hidden mechanisms. The viewer will be able to apply the information to themselves. The video will uncover counterintuitive truths. Yeah, these are like really good. And if you executed this video in a way which actually hits all of these expectations, then your video will be good. And your video will be liked, and it will have good satisfaction. Viewers will stay on your video and they'll stick around on your channel, more likely to return to one of your videos in the past, and YouTube will thank you for that. But before we move on to the next habit, if you actually want to take this a step further, what you can then do is go and find successful outlier videos which are maybe in the same topic as yours. Just see how they pay off their expectations. Because the way a 7-step listicle pays off the expectations that they set in the packaging can directly be copied to this video that I'm making here. But the thing is, this expectation list will tell you what you're promising to the viewer, but it doesn't tell you if these promises are exciting or interesting or what your target audience actually wants. But there is a way to see this, and that is the third habit, which are the 8 ingredients of YouTube. I hate outlier ideation, and that is because, simply put, it just doesn't work. Like, empirically, if you look at the data, it doesn't work. And across the 4 billion views I've generated with clients, this is the actual data analysis process which I use to validate video ideas. And so there are 8 ingredients that determine whether a video idea will perform. There is the topic, the claim or promise, the mechanism, the information density, the format, the sophistication level, the value against the status quo, originality, and finally the zeitgeist. Now, you don't need to understand what all of these mean. I'll go into a few of them in a second. But realistically, for any video to become a significant outlier, you only need 2 or 3 of these to do the actual work. Now, the example I love using is MrBeast's Squid Game video. And it's because it has nearly 1 billion views. I mean, it's his most viewed video on his channel by a long shot. I remember being in this industry when this video was in production, and there was so much hype around it. There was nothing strategically smart in this video, nor was there anything akin to outlier ideation. But there was the zeitgeist, and he interpreted that zeitgeist, understood it, and knew to prioritize it. Because zeitgeist is the most powerful ingredient on this list, and the one you cannot rush or force. Now, the next ingredient I want to go into is the mechanism. And there's a window on YouTube right now, and I'm sure you've definitely noticed this, where Claude code being used for YouTube strategy is a disproportionately high interest mechanism. And so any video that can legitimately use it, they can share that in a video, almost regardless of how good it is, it will perform. But the final one I want to go into is the sophistication level. A while ago, I had an article that went viral, essentially. I know a lot of Ali Abdul's team saw it because I've had conversations with them since. And it's to do with this trap that Ali's falling into a lot. And it's to do with the sophistication level. So if we look at this video, how to read more books, it's a very bare bones promise. There's no constraint. It's not how to read 10 books in 7 days. There's no specific new mechanism to achieving this goal, and there's no implicit reframe. It's just the bare bones statement of a very saturated promise on YouTube. And because of that, it absolutely flopped for him. And he's been making this mistake constantly, and he is a skilled creator. So we can think of this as a ladder, and every time the market catches up to one of these rungs on the ladder, you kind of need to pitch your video one rung above it to be interesting. And so it starts off with the bare promise, and then you add a constraint. You then name the mechanism that you're using before the final rung being to completely change that promise as a whole. Now, for each idea, you want to find recent examples of other creators succeeding above the 2 or 3 ingredients that you're making a bet on with your video. And if you can't find that pattern, then your idea isn't validated regardless of how good your video looks. For this video, I'm betting on the fact that the mechanism of 7 boring habits is novel to this space, but people will perceive it as being a step above just 7 habits or 7 pieces of YouTube advice. My big bet ingredient is the mechanism. And so to validate this video, I found loads of other videos in adjacent niches which also use this same mechanism of boring habits, and there's a pattern of them working well, and I couldn't really find many negative data points. Now, a valid repetition is a new video where you're taking and implementing all of the lessons from your previous videos, and that's the only way to actually succeed on YouTube and to get better. Now, you'd be so surprised by how many creators actually don't look at their data or don't look at it properly. It's absolutely astonishing. Now, retention charts have much more in them than most creators will ever realize, and the easy lessons from the graph are obvious from a glance, but the value comes when you push past those easy lessons and you try to find 5 much more unique, distinct takeaways. So just under 6 days ago, we uploaded this video for Chris Bumstead, which got 1.3 million views and nearly 18 million impressions. I want to show you this video, which Chris posted 20 days ago, and it only got 250,000 views with just 4 million impressions. The CTR was pretty much the same, and the retention was actually far better. I mean, this is a much flatter graph, which is what you want, right? Well, not exactly. There are 3 things I want to look for. The first are any immediate peaks, but not actually what happened at the spike, but what happened immediately before it to cause the viewer to want to skip to this point here. Now, the next thing I want to look at are these gradual boredom slopes, where there's no single thing that caused them to click away, but an accumulation of a lack of reason to continue watching. And the final thing I want to look for are any relatively flat points. And so earlier I took some notes around this video and what happens at each of these points. Now, to begin with, we started off with this long talking segment and a bit of B-roll at the start. Now, a lot of people would say to cut this B-roll because of this huge initial dip, but I actually don't think that that's a good idea. This video had far more broad appeal. We enter a sort of conversation while he is in the garage on the treadmill, and that also causes this gradual boredom slide, and that's because we haven't really established any tension yet. I mean, there are no expectations for what happens next. That means a lot of these viewers don't actually care about the value Chris has to provide from a talking perspective. Objectively, that is the thing we're trying to package with this video, and so what we need to do is make that feel more relevant to the morning routine expectations that we set. And so by providing a sort of progress bar, or by giving like a little to-do list on the side where with each activity something's ticked off, then you get more of a feeling that even this talking part is still progressing towards the morning routine. This big flatline section was actually Chris when he starts preparing food. Now, not only is it very visually different than the previous talking segment, but it is also a lot more doing, not showing. So it feels like immediate progression towards the goal, and because of the nature of cooking, there's that natural build-up before the final payoff of seeing the finished food already made. It's just really nice retention-wise, and there's clear inherent progression and storytelling there. The easy win here to make our next video a 10 million view video instead of just a 1.5 million view video is to give all of these talking segments the perception of progression. So that includes gamifying some of it, giving them progression trackers, hinting at the rest of the morning routine, or by showing a lot more b-roll, because clearly people skip to things that are visually different. And the prompt is analyze my retention data and tell me the segments and mistakes that cause a long drop, gradual boredom, or a sudden drop so I can fix these for future videos. And so here we have the output. It gives a nice graph where it labels the peaks and the drop-offs, and it gives a nice piece of advice that we can improve there. And it gives some nice pieces of advice that we can implement. And so let's have a quick read through one of them. The motivation monologue causes a slow bleed and skip. Through chapter 2, you slide steadily from 58% retention to 47% while talking abstractly about discipline, self-respect, and drifting away from the confident, self-trusted man. It's philosophy with no visual payoff. But now let's go on to habit 5, which is to steal. Now, most creators have a small number of real advantages that they can uniquely provide to their audience, and they can uniquely play with each video. But what they don't realize is that the version of you in a completely different niche has already tested and found out exactly how to play your same hand of advantages. And so from doing YouTube for over 7 years, I've been collecting a quantifiable list of every single advantage I notice in a creator that they can play to get more views reliably, time over time. And here is that list. You can pause the video here, take a screenshot. I won't run through all of them, but some of them include capital access, so you have significant funds or investors to outspend rivals. And of course, this is a card which MrBeast plays a lot. Celebrity network, expert network, life experience advantage, geographic advantage. And yeah, like you will inevitably have a few of these, and if you can play them together with each one of your video, then you'll be consistently making videos that other creators cannot. And so my two that I use the most includes my life experience advantage from working in this space for a while, and my client case access from having some pretty big client names that I can name drop or use insights and data from. Now these three examples I love and I just won't stop talking about. And the first one is this video by Liam Porritt, who is a practicing corporate lawyer, and the title is Lawyer Explains How Corporate Lawyers Make Millions. It was a 28,000% outlier, and it got 216,000 views. Now this is life experience advantage as a corporate lawyer, with that kind of insider information from the years of being in the space, playing that card. Now, this is another video which a lot of people probably have seen before. It's called 1,000 Hours Studying the Best Marketing Funnels in 42 Minutes, and this was an insane outlier with 168,000 views. And once again, this is client case access, like showing that data live, and it's a life experience advantage, compressing a genuinely intimidating volume of research into just one video. Now, the final one I want to show you is this video, titled The Strategy That Keeps Making Billions for Institutional Traders. Now, this is an institutional trader making this video. I mean, he has been inside some crazy big firms, and it's the life experience advantage of teaching what he's learned directly that makes this an interesting video, and then the hard skill fluency of just knowing the skill. He uses those two cards to make this video and make a irresistible packaging and intro, but also to make the promise immediately actionable for retail investors. And so what you want to take from these videos, where they are the same advantage cards that you have, is the format. Not the topic or not any of those other ingredients, but the format. And so because I have these similar advantages, I could take this title and do something like The Strategy That Keeps Getting Billions of Views for huge channels, 1,000 Hours of Studying the Best YouTube Strategies in 42 Minutes, or YouTube Strategist Explains How small or how bad videos make millions. And so what you want to do is when you find a video with similar advantage tags as you, keep a Google Doc open and paste the video in, but immediately put 2 or 3 ideas of title options just at that moment you save the video. Now, habit 6 is simulation. And so the insight here is that the same title and thumbnail can sell an entirely different set of expectations to a cold viewer than it does to a loyal subscriber who has already seen that channel before. And what you can do is use an agentic AI model to simulate the different viewing experiences different types of viewers would have when seeing your transcript, and making sure that you're optimizing for the right subsections of the audience that you're trying to hit. And so this is a Monte Carlo simulation, and you can do it in Claude Opus, or even better, you can do it in Claude Dispatch, where it sends off multiple different agents to run it independently, and you can pull the results together. Now you want to give it your title, your thumbnail, and a description of your video, and also maybe your typical traffic breakdown. And Claude will build a parameter profile for each slice of your audience. And so for my run, it did cold browse, new intent-led, casual returning, loyal subscribers, or search or answer seekers. And each of these profiles will cover patience, viewing context, the specific promise each slice reads from the packaging, and so their different expectations for what your video is about, but also their drift sensitivity. And so a search viewer is much more likely to click off than a browse viewer. And so if you're trying to reach search traffic, then due to their higher drift sensitivity and volatility, you can figure out what may cause them to leave before you give them the answer. And so the output of all of this is a chart with one predicted curve per profile of viewer, and they're layered on the same axis. But it is this preparation before recording that massively changes how the algorithm reads your content, and allows it to get far more precise with who your actual audience is with every upload. And that precision and clarity will compound in a massive way, far greater than raw effort and just posting more ever will.